No great God would give cancer to kids. Yeah, well, the way I see it is God doesn't always have to be like this benevolent actor. Or, you know, like I think the real question of God is people are like, why do we exist? You know, like why does the universe exist? How does something come from nothing? Which is also that's a very existential question. That's like the essence of existentialism, which is that existence precedes essence. But um if you did believe in a God, I don't think it needs to be a God that would or would not give cancer to children. It'd be fucked up if there was a being that conceptualizes all of this. It can be comforting and also very disturbing to believe that everything is part of a plan. And then that's also when you have to confront absurdity. Like, that's fucking absurd. Why would you create a world where suffering happens? And that is what all of the main religions and philosophies have been trying to tackle for 10,000 years. And probably longer. Yeah, I like that perspective as well. Been following a long time, but curious. Stance on Charlie's assassination. That was just a fucked up day. I was actually gonna stream on Thursday, but I didn't because I didn't. It's been very hard not to immediately emotionally react. Charlie Kirk was a really bad person, but nobody. It's a bit different when you see them fucking die. And this has irrevocably made everything worse. I'm also annoyed that this is all we're gonna be fucking talking about forever now. Like, I didn't like the guy, but I didn't need to see his fucking head explode. Jesus. This really sucks. Actually. And my opinion is I understand reactions on both sides. And I would like for this to never happen to anyone ever again. And that this is America. This is the reality. And it sucks that we're just gonna use this to make everything worse. And it scared me, honestly. I know there's a press conference tomorrow. I think we should find out why these things happen. And I also think America has an insane... Sorry for the use of the word insane. I was going to say America has an insane mental health problem. Don't watch the video. I looked it up like the day that it happened because I was curious and I regret it. But I don't know. It just depends on. I don't know what the fuck to say. But if you do see it, I want you to know that that's the reality of gun violence. That was the first thought that I had, was it was really fucked up. And then, confronting the reality of this. And it was extra strange that it was somebody that I, recognized, you know? It was, so weird to be, somebody that you know, quote unquote. It's very... I think that's all I can say about it. I have a lot of thoughts. I wanted to talk about it, but it's, just so surreal and so fucked up, and we're legitimately worse off because of it. And this happens to children. And I wish we would stop fucking arguing about it being left or right. This isn't a time to, like, score points, you know? Alright, existentialism is a humanism. We have now, I think, dispensed with... Dude, I saw the clip, hearing Hassan talk about it since he's debated him and stuff, like he knew him, regardless of the dude's shitty worldview. I saw the clip of Hassan watching the, like, literally the day the news happened. There's a clip of Hassan, like finding out and looking it up, and it's kind of the exact reaction I had. Like, I might actually fucking cry, like, thinking about it. It was strangely cathartic to see Hassan go through the fuck... Like, it's just so fucked up. We're literally talking about, like, the most fucked up thing. But it was strangely cathartic to see how Hassan experienced it. Because that's almost how it was almost exactly how I reacted. Like, it just boggles. The first thing I thought was, okay, I'm actually gonna fucking cry. I actually had to play, like, I didn't even fucking post. I literally just went and played Stardew Valley afterwards so that I didn't get fucking PTSD, like how they tell you to play Tetris. Like, I just had to, like, play Stardew Valley the rest of the night. No, that's not fucking true, Devontian the Third. He's never encouraged this, and I think you should. I would share the video of Hassan reacting to the news right when it broke. Anyways, I'm kind of getting off track now, but the first thing I thought when I saw this fucked up video is, like, because it was a face that I recognized, number one, it was, like, such a confusing experience of, like, I really don't like this person, but that was so fucked up, you know? And then I thought, like, that can happen to anyone. You know, like, I was like, that could be anybody else all the time. And, like, sure, I didn't like the guy, but holy shit. He's fucking dead. And then I had to go play Stardew Valley after, like, staring at a wall. And I guess yeah. We live in fucked up times. And then just the backlash has been insane. Like, people have really been losing their minds for years now, but I don't think any of us were built for this, you know? So, you have seen that it cannot be considered a philosophy of quietism, since it defines man by his actions. Thank you, Nip Twitch. Thank you, Salvage Bar, by the way. I understand. Oh, that's like from 10 minutes ago. Sorry, I was distracted. This shit helped me, like, not want to die so much. And thank you guys. No, I understand Max Threat. I'm 30 years old. Well, I'll be 30 this December. I've seen fucked up shit on the internet before. Like, that's the other thing is I don't think we should consider that normal, you know? Like, this is almost a conversation for another day if you guys are into it. Like, I have a lot to say on the topic. We've become so desensitized as well. Like, we don't live in a country that has a civil war going on. I know that these things happen. Like, these are very real things that do happen, and for some people it's their whole lives, you know, like say you live in a civil war country, maybe you've actually been to war, but even if you're a soldier or whatever, like nobody thinks like it's normal to go through those things. And I remember, God, I don't even want to, this stuff makes me feel sick, like, talking about it, but I think I do, like, want to, because it's so important. I remember there was a person who was younger than me in my, like, Twitch community, and I remember the day that I think it was the Christchurch mass shooting that happened. A bunch of them have been live streamed. I was going to say the one that was live streamed, but it was the one that was live streamed where they went into, like, a Muslim church, and they live streamed it. I think it was Christchurch, which is, like, the location in New Zealand or whatever, and they live streamed it. And I remember someone in my community who I know was a bit younger than me, and they were, like, I was friends with them. Or I am friends with them. We haven't talked in a long time. But they were, like, 17 at the time, and I must have been, like, 20-ish. Like, I was, like, 22, and they were, like, 18 or 17. Yeah. And someone they were posting about it in my Discord, like, after it happened, and they were like, yeah, I saw the video. Or, like, they said they watched the video, and I've seen some of it as well. But I was like, the thing I'm trying to say right now is they were like a really young person, and they were like, yeah, I saw the video, I'm fine. And I was like, no, you're not. You think you're fine, but the fact that you watched something like that and you said, I'm fine afterwards, like, that means you're not fine. Like, that's not okay. You're not fine. You might feel like you're fine, but that actually is a symptom of, like, not being fucking fine, dude. Like, if you see something fucked up and your response is, I've seen worse, you are not fine. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to break it to you, honey. Exactly. And, you know, spread the love, please. Like, and like, so a lot of us are guilty of that exact reaction. Of like, oh, well, I've seen worse. It's like, that means you're not okay. And it's literally probably your brain protecting you. Well, it feels silly to, like, start reading a book. Jesus, I need a cigarette. But, thank you for letting me vomit that out. I needed it. Yeah. And please take care of yourselves, and buckle up. Fuckle up, buckos. It cannot be considered a philosophy of quietism, since it defines man by his actions. Nor can it be called a pessimistic description of man, for no doctrine is more optimistic, since it declares that man's destiny lies within himself. Wait, did I start too far back? Oh, I did. I started way too far back. As our point of departure, there can be no other truth than this. I think, therefore I am. This is the absolute truth of consciousness confronting itself. Any theory that considers man outside of this moment of self-awareness is at the outset a theory that suppresses the truth. For outside of this Cartesian cogito, all objects are merely probable. We must have our point of view be the point of departure. This also makes for great storytelling. I love subjectivity for really good storytelling. Anyways. For outside of this Cartesian, I think, therefore I am, cogito, all objects are merely probable. And a doctrine of probabilities, not rooted in any truth, crumbles into nothing. In order to define what is probable, one must possess what is true. Therefore, in order for any truth to exist, there must first be an absolute truth. The latter is simple, easy to attain, and within everyone's reach. One need only seize it directly. And that's where we left off. In the second place, this is the only theory that endows man with any dignity, and the only one that does not turn him into an object. The effect of any form of materialism is to treat all men, including oneself, as objects, which is to say as a set of predetermined reactions, indistinguishable from the properties and phenomena that constitute, say, a table, a chair, or a stone. Actually, I remember reading that last week, too. Where the fuck did I leave off? Oh. Okay, I started like I just added 2 pages to my reading tonight. God damn it. Our aim is exactly to establish the human kingdom as a set of values distinct from the material world. And the subjectivity that we thereby attain as a standard of truth is not strictly individual in nature, for we have demonstrated that it is not only oneself that one discovers in the cogito, but also the existence of others. Contrary to the philosophy of Descartes or of Kant, when we say I think, we each attain in ourselves in the presence of the other. We each attain ourselves in the presence of the other. And we are just as certain of the other as we are of ourselves. Therefore, the man who becomes aware of himself directly in the cogito also perceives all others. And he does so as the condition of his own existence. He realizes that he cannot be anything in the sense of which we say that someone is spiritual or cruel or jealous unless we acknowledge him as such. I cannot discover any truth about myself whatsoever except through the mediation of another. The other is essential to my existence, as well as to the knowledge that I have of myself. Under these conditions, my intimate discovery of myself is at the same time a revelation of the other as a freedom that confronts my own, and that cannot think or will without doing so for or against me. We are thus immediately thrust into a world that we may call intersubjectivity. It is in this world that man decides what he is and what others are. Furthermore, although it is impossible to find in every man a universal essence that could be said to comprise human nature, there is nevertheless a universal human condition. It is no accident that today's thinkers are more likely to speak on the condition of man rather than of his nature. By condition, they refer more or less clearly to all limitations that a priori define man's fundamental situation in the universe. Historical situations may vary. A man may be born a slave in a pagan society, or a feudal lord, or a member of the proletariat. What never varies is the necessity for him to be in the world, to work in it, to live out his life amongst others, and eventually to die in it. These limitations are neither objective nor subjective. Rather, they have an objective as well as a subjective dimension. Objective because they affect everyone and are evident everywhere. Subjective because they are experienced and are meaningless if man does not experience them. Like death. Death is meaningless until you experience it. It's objective and subjective. I love that line. These limitations are neither objective nor subjective because they have an objective as well as a subjective dimension. Because they affect everyone and are evident everywhere, objective. But because they are experienced and are meaningless if man does not experience them, subjective. That is to say, if man does not freely determine himself and his existence in relation... That is to say, if man does not freely determine himself and his existence in relation to them. And as diverse as man's projects may be, at least none of them seem wholly foreign to me, since each presents itself as an attempt to surpass the limitations, to postpone, deny, or even to come to terms with them. Consequently, every project, no matter how individual, has universal value. Every project is not foreign to me. Every project, even one belonging to a Chinese, an Indian, or an African, can be understood by a European. To say that it can be understood means that the European of 1945, though his situation is different, must deal with his own limitations in the same way, and so can reinvent himself. So can reinvent within himself the project undertaken by the Chinese, Indian, or Black African. There is a universality in every project, inasmuch as any man is capable of understanding any human project. This should not be taken to mean that a certain project defines man forever, but that it can be reinvented again and again, given sufficient information, one can always find a way to understand an idiot, a child, a person from a so-called primitive culture, or a foreigner. In this sense, we can claim that human universality exists, but it is not a given, as in like a human nature. It's not a given. It is in perpetual construction. In choosing myself, I construct universality. I construct it by understanding every other man's project, regardless of the era in which he lives. This absolute freedom of choice does not alter the relativity of each era. This absolute freedom of choice does not alter the relativity of each era. The fundamental aim of existentialism is to reveal the link between the absolute character of the free commitment by which every man realizes himself in realizing a type of humanity. A commitment that is always understandable by anyone in any era. And the relativity of the cultural ensemble that may result from such a choice. We must also note the relativity of Cartesianism and the absolute nature of the Cartesian commitment. In this sense, we can say, if you prefer, that every one of us creates the absolute by the act of breathing, eating, sleeping, or by behaving in any fashion at all. There is no difference between free being. There's no difference between free being, being as a project, being as existence choosing its essence, and absolute being. Nor is there any difference between being as an absolute, temporally localized, that is localized in history, and universally intelligible being. So, this does not entirely refute the charge of subjectivism, because that's also used as a criticism of existentialism, is that it's too subjective. So this does not entirely dispense of the charge of subjectivism. In fact, that criticism is still being made in several ways. The most common instance is when people tell us, so you can do whatever you like. This is expressed in various ways. First, they tax us with anarchy. Actually, I do kind of have to pee. Poo poo pee pee, BRB.